Redditors that have gone on Tinder dates, what was your worst and weirdest experiences? He made me watch his homemade rap videos and tried to like his own FB page on my phone. This might have been the most painful one to read on here. Met at a coffee shop. They're early. I order my drink. Sit down. She looks at me and this is her first sentence. Let's cut to the chase. I need a father for my 4 sons. Apostrophe. I got up and left. I met a girl for a date who turned out to be much better looking than her photos, which is always a nice surprise. The date went well. Just dinner and a walk. And we said our goodbyes. The next day she invited me out to a friend's birthday party downtown as her +1. I wanted to go, but I had to work the next day and wanted to be able to drink a little since it was a bunch of people I didn't know. She said that's alright. You can park at my house and sleep over. Chatting. So, of course, I said yes. Fast forward to the middle of the party. I'm enjoying myself chatting it up with her friends and having a good time, and next thing I know she absolutely loses it and storms out of the bar, leaving me there, drunk, with her friends. I still have no idea why. One of them told me she wants you to go after her, and I said fuck that. It's our second date, which not a single person blamed me for. I stayed at the party and switched to water while I continued talking with her friends. That was over a year ago, and I still regularly hang out with them. They have since stopped talking to her. TL. Doctor no sex, but got to keep all her friends. 2-date relationship, and you got custody, good job. Not me, but my friend went on a really great Tinder date a few months ago. She said they really seemed to hit it off. They got some margaritas, had a fun but very deep conversation about life and other philosophical things, and then made out a little bit. She didn't hear from him the rest of the weekend, which felt odd. BC, she had such a great feeling about him. She usually has a great radar with these things. She ended up stalking him on Facebook to see what he was up to. He killed himself. Edit. Elaborated on his death. We went to her place, ate mushrooms and had sex. She was a biter, and it was like having sex with a giant spider. Needless to say, I didn't have a great time, and she kicked me out. I sat in my car outside for 2 long hours tripping on mushrooms, trying to come to terms with what felt like dying. Woke up the next morning with large bite marks. Never do mushrooms with strange Tinder girls. My profile pic is a toilet. The first time I met a girl we actually talked about toilets for an hour. Your pic is a toilet, and you got a match. Thanks for rubbing it in. You gotta try. Seriously. The girls go nuts for it. I get tons of matches. Friend from class matched with my then girlfriend, now ex. He informed me of the match and proceeded to set up a coffee date. Instead of him showing up to the date, I did. I had the pleasure of watching my girlfriend freak the duck out. I got matched with a friend of mine I was really interested in, and everything was really cool. We ended up dating for a couple months after the first night we spent together. Then she slept with one of my best friends. That wasn't really cool. We went on 3 or 4 dates. I, 30, was starting to get feelings and liked this girl, 25. On our 4th date, she asked if I could watch her cat while she was moving apartments. I'm not a fan of cats. Sorry Reddit, but I'm a nice guy and kept the cat in my home office. Long story short, she doesn't answer her phone for over a week and only picks up her cat when I send a message saying it's going to the local shelter within 24 hours. Fucking Tinder. We went on 3 dates. The next time she asked to see me, I told her I was visiting family and wouldn't be available until the following weekend. In that moment, she freaked out and sent me a 7-page long text about how I destroyed what could have been a perfect relationship and that she wanted to marry me still if I would just put her first. She then left me a voicemail of her singing "You Got It Bad" by Usher while crying and saying she loved me over and over. 2 days later she sent me pictures of her burning a bucket list she had made for us. Glad I got out of that one unscathed. Recently met this guy on Tinder and been on 3 dates with him. First date went really well until his car got towed. Second date went to his place, got drunk and banged, ended up with condom inside. Proceed to freak the duck out and had to go to her. Third date he got me high for the first time. Got way too high. freak out again, and start pinching his nipple really hard and speaking Thai. He added me on FB after that. 8/10 would go on date again. Went to see 50 Shades of Grey. Got a blowy in the parking lot. Got caught by a security guard on a Segway. Ended up with chlamydia. I no longer Tinder. Edit. I didn't know that you could contract it that way either, yet a trip to the clinic proved it to me. She tried to sell me insurance over dinner. She had a full pitch prepared and even insulted me for choosing my current provider. I split the check and then I split. Everything seemed normal until about 45 minutes in, when she decided to tell me all about the time she was kidnapped and all the associated lingering psychological issues still present. Within the first hour of meeting, I remind you, went on a date with a woman to a pub where, during the conversation we had, she wanted to take a picture of my driver's license to send and show to her sister via text. 2 minutes later, the woman brought up my DUI I had 5 years ago. Her sister did a criminal background check on me. 1.5 hours into the date. Edit. Grammar. I watched a guy's cat die on our first date. Started talking to a girl. She started talking sexual rather quick. I got her number and we started talking some more. She tells me that she needs some as soon as possible and to drive out to her place. Now she lives like an hour away and girls don't normally talk to me like this. So I think to myself, is this a setup? So before I make any hasty choices I buy myself some time by telling her I had to work and that I'd be available the following night. Fast forward to the next day and I get a text from some dude asking if I knew the girl. I said yes. So then he says we lime her B/F I hope you enjoyed ducking her but that'll be your last time. I informed him that I never met her and had I known she had a man I wouldn't have spoken to her. That tells me oh well that's cool. When we fight she always gets drunk and tries to duck someone off of Tinder. I told him that she sounds like a keeper. We talked for a while about our families and I mentioned both my brothers were mentally handicapped and I've worked with people like them to help better their lives. She said I was a really sweet guy for doing that and devoting my time. Then she told me people like my brothers should be euthanized as kids so they can't be a burden on their families or society. Long story short, I'm banned from Panera. I met a guy on Craigslist a few years ago, not Tinder but I think it still applies. He showed up at my apartment with a backpack full of dildos and bondage accoutrement which he then poured out on my coffee table and explained to me that if we were going to be in a relationship this is what we'd be doing. I have nothing against kinky sex, but dildos just seem rude for a coffee date. She won't stop sending me naked Snapchats. Last 3 weeks one every day pretty much. I get 4 or 5 non-naked ones a day. I've ignored every one of them. I was drunk and getting over an ex when I went on the date and slept with her at her house luckily. Don't want her knowing where I live. I told her nicely I didn't want to go out. Then I told her harshly when it didn't stop. I blocked her on WhatsApp and Tinder, but I'm getting naked Snapchats so won't block her on that for a while. I won't go into too many details, but the conversation went god awful from the start. She was young and naive, and somehow her getting pregnant with her ex came up. When I asked whatever happened to her child she, without hesitation, told me her ex-punch aborted it. I put my taco down. Went out to dinner with a guy. He choked on his food and was coughing blood. We ended up well, turns out his brother worked there. The brother called the parents. I met the entire family on a first date. Edit. Would also like to point out everyone in the restaurant, including the staff, just staring at us while I attempted to perform the Heimlich maneuver on him. My worst experience with Tinder would be when my husband left me for someone he met on the site. Boo edit that's just me lol. Not me, but my manager had someone take her on a dumpster date. Yep. He asked her out for pizza and they started walking towards Papa John's, but ended up going around back for leftovers out of the trash. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.